Well, hello everyone, and welcome back to another No Buff Rift Clear challenge video. Today we have a challenge that was very frustrating initially, but once we were able to figure out a rhythm for it, actually is probably one of the more satisfying trials that I've done up until this point. I am of course talking about the level 30 Solo Cellblock Smackdown starring Luke Cage. This is a very interesting challenge, as most of the solo challenges are, mainly because this is one of the characters that I did not initially level up while using in any sort of playthrough capacity. But Luke Cage actually has a lot of really fun items in his kit that you get to make a good use of in order to assure that you are going to make the clear conditions. So let's have a little bit of a closer look at this run. Now, the two clear conditions that we need to do to get the full clear on this is we need to be able to deal 400,000 damage or more using abilities, as well as finish in 4 minutes and 20 seconds or less. And the latter of those two conditions becomes easier and easier the higher of a level that you have for Luke Cage. But as you see here, I only have the character at level 24, and he hits that level during this rift, which, if I may remind you, is a level 30 difficulty, which is generally the scope that's recommended minimally in order to clear this rift with ease. And that also takes into account the assumption that you are using your abilities at leveled up capacities and or engaging with the Alliance Enhancement and ISO 8 loadouts for your characters. But we have omitted all of that, so that's really what kind of makes this a little bit trickier, is we're not hitting as hard as we could be, and that is going to serve as a detriment. However, the strategy that you see me using a lot is Luke Cage's Chain Gang ability, where he will swing the chain around in 360 degrees around him. If he makes contact with a grunt type enemy, the grunt will get caught up in that chain, and then there will be 2 slams onto the ground, which deals massive amounts of damage to the tethered enemy, as well as a significant amount of damage to the enemies in the area where he is slammed down into the ground. And all of that damage counts towards that 400,000 damage or more with abilities. So I will be using that quite a lot throughout this challenge because it allows me to rack up that damage gauge very efficiently. The other thing that really proved to be difficult is the couple of mighty enemies that pop up. Now, there aren't a whole lot of them that make an appearance in this rift, but there's just enough to cause problems with this low of a character because I don't have a reliable way of breaking through their stagger gauge. I do try to use the Harlem Express a little bit, but it eats up a fair amount of my energy points, and so I need to be really conservative about when I'm choosing to unleash that attack, particularly if I know I can stagger the opponent or when the opponent has been staggered, so I can deal larger amounts of damage to them, allowing me to burn them down faster and stay within the time constraints of the challenge. So that's really the biggest things that you see me doing there. I also have the extreme attack that builds up passively over the course of the fight, and you will see me use this twice. You'll see me use it in the second hallway cell block type fight, particularly at the end where there's multiple mighty enemies and an entire swath of the smaller grunt type enemies that come down, just because I can take the large majority of those opponents out relatively quickly, which is necessary for getting the clear in the time constraint, as well as not having to deal with manually burning down the stagger gauges of those mighty enemies, because that takes a lot of time with the characters under-leveled as I have them. The other time that you see me use that is towards the end. It's in the fight against Sandman, and Sandman would be a very intimidating boss to have to take down, especially with only one character, but to compensate for that, he has been nerfed down in terms of his health pool, so you don't have to layer in as much damage as you would in the case of a normal Sandman fight. And it's still a pretty fun little interaction to go through, and I do use that extreme attack towards the end to really finish him down before layering in a couple of Harlem Express charge attacks in order to burn down the remainder of Sandman's health bar once all of the reinforcements have been pulled in. The biggest thing that I had to watch out for during the Sandman fight is when Sandman is able to shrug off the effect of the concrete cannons, and you also have large amounts of those enemies that are prowling around the battlefield that you also have to be looking to take out, mainly because you can't efficiently get around them to use the concrete cannons because they are just large in numbers and they will hone in on you no matter where you end up setting up shop. But as you can see, we were able to get this clear condition all 3 stars in a single run, and this was a very fun challenge for me to take on, as most of these have been up until this point. I'm actually a little bit surprised that we're still doing as well as we have in this type of a challenge. But did you enjoy today's video, or did you find anything helpful for your own attempts at clearing the Cellblock Smackdown? Be sure to let me know what your thoughts are in the comments down below. And if you'd like to see more videos, make sure that you subscribe, because I do provide daily variety content from plenty of different games, and I have plans to incorporate more games and other challenge type videos into my catalog in the near future. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope that you have an absolutely fantastic rest of your day.